are on. Okay, so we're holding on Chavav Amid Beis by the two dots, approximately 10 lines from the white lines. Oichlim achilas arai chotz l'sukkah. And actually, I didn't plan this, but this is an interesting shayla. Would you be able to eat this food that we have right now? Would you be able to eat this outside of the sukkah? Because on one hand, rice. So we have rice and poppers. Now let's learn the Gemara, and maybe at the end we'll. Oh yes, thank you. I wanted to add on before we begin that yesterday we saw a fascinating Gemara in which Rav allowed Rav Acha Bardala to sleep under a canopy inside the sukkah. Why? Because of the mosquitoes. So one detail I wanted to add on, not everyone heard, was, I don't understand. If you're putter because you're inside, so leave the sukkah. Why are you sleeping? Yeah, someone asked it. I didn't fully wrap it up. And how are you guys say? Very good. Very good. Everyone who's doing Chazara remembers all the way back in the beginning of the parak. We began the parak with Hayashein Tachas Hamita Lo Yatsa we paskin. So why over here is he telling him to sleep under the canopy? So the answer is that we have to wait to Daf Yud in Mirz Hashem. So most people see Daf Yud before Daf Chavav. We didn't. And we'll see on Daf Yud that there is one shita that holds that there's a maila being in the sukkah even when there is a hefsek, even under the shlak. And when I learned that, and it's actually interesting, it's a Magen Avram, and it's quoted by the Bir Halacha. Now it's a chumrah, but this to me was a lot of consolation, because I grew up that, it started raining, you put the shlak on, and let's eat in the sukkah. What are we eating in the sukkah? We put the shlak on, go in the house. What are we doing?
No one ever stays in the sukkah.
Now I'll be honest, I don't know if my family did it al halacha. I think they might have just did it because the table was set up. Yeah. But l'maisa, you get the mitzvah of sukkah according to one shita. It's an interesting idea, even when you're under a shlak. So that's just the wrap up of yesterday's sukkah with sleeping with the heilige mosquitoes. And we continue. Oichlim achilas arai chotz l'sukkah. You had to eat achilas arai, temporary eating outside of the sukkah. The kama achilas arai. How much? Amar Rav Yosef, Tarti.
Is it that you're eating temporarily out of the sukkah, or the food is temporary? I don't know what do you mean.
What do you mean?
If we all learned, if it's a shahako.
Good. So this is the source. That you're allowed.
Food itself.
Very good. So we're going to see.
I'm running and I'm eating on the go.
Very good. So we're going to see. Good. So let's see. First, we're going to see that the Gemara answers. We're not going to get to all the way to the halacha, but we'll answer your question at the end. V'kama achilas arai, says the Gemara, Amar Rav Yosef, tarti oitlas be'i, 2 or 3 eggs. You're allowed to eat up to 2 or 3 eggs worth outside of the sukkah, which is very interesting, which really is the same point that Rav Menachem, you're pointing out, is that the Gemara doesn't make mention of what? Of what 2 or 3 eggs? It sounds like it's a quantity of any form of food. And when we look at Rashi, smack in the middle of the Amid, the first one line is Tarti. Rashi says, because it takes 2 or 3 times to put in your mouth. It sounds like in the Gemara, even Hamaitzi. We'll just parenthetically mention, even though we do have the letter next over here that this quotes Tafrei Sadi Tes, this is the source that we paskin you're allowed to eat foods which by their very nature are arai. Some foods are called arai. This goes into nowadays, you serve a slice of pizza and everyone says, wait, do I have to wash in it? Soon we're going to get to, they serve rolls, do I have to wash in it? Soon it's going to be, we're going to serve challah, and do I have to wash in it? It's gotten a little bit ridiculous, out of control. There comes a point that it's a piece of bread. I don't care what it is, it's a shtick bright. That's what it is. It's a piece of, mezainis bread, and mezainis das. It's all mezainis. It's not, it's all hamaitzi. But either way, it's all hamaitzi. I know, on Pesach we all had these wonderful, they look like beautiful bagels. It was excellent. Yeah, when you bit it, you felt like it was a potato, but it looked like a bagel.
Is that an official statement right there? It's all Almighty.
It's that was an official statement. Yeah, that was an official statement. Yeah, it's all Almighty. But you should know if you want to go that way, then we'll tell you the other way. But then you can make a mezainis in your wraps. No, mezainis you can make in the wraps, but it might only be tali zebazeh. So we have to talk about this at a different time. But Either way, what does that have to do with us is that foods which are arai, and therefore we'll just wrap it all up in the first line of the Gemara over here. Rice, even though rice is a mezainis, yes, rice is a mezainis, rice is a fake mezainis. Actually, Rav Yossi is not here. I would have liked to ask him. I believe, I think Chabadniks make a shahakal on rice. Someone has to confirm that. I think there is a graz that might say that. But either way, no, he's not. That's Rav Yossel. Is that you? No, that's awkward now. Oh,
yeah, it's me.
No, Rav Yossi, do we make a shackle and rice or no?
Shackle and rice, it's better to make mezainis before.
Better to make mezainis before, but let's say all you have is rice. What would you make on it?
Shackle is covering always.
Yossel, you're very political. Okay, but the ma'aseh of Psak is that you'd be allowed to eat rice outside of the sukkah, and the big savior would be sushi. Pashta says you could have sushi outside the sukkah. Sushi is chashiv, and it's a whole meal, but in the qualifications, you're allowed to. But l'maisa avada, as we'll get to sukkahs, once by the time we'll get to sukkahs, we'll be so in the sukkah, who wouldn't want to eat in the sukkah? You get a mitzvah every bite. Here, you also get a mitzvah, because it's with the Torah. But in general, that's the attitude. With that, now let's get into the Gemara. It's getting late. Baruch Hashem. Amr le'abayu. Vazin sagiyin. 2 or 3 eggs worth, but there are times, at times, that sagilei, that it suffices for a le'inish, a person, bahachi, meaning a person sometimes his ganze meal is 2 or 3 eggs worth. So you're telling me achilas harai is 2 or 3 eggs. Ask Abaya, what do you mean? Yen a guy on a diet, well, probably not him because he doesn't suffice, but certain people, they don't eat so much. 2 or 3 eggs worth his whole meal.
Like the 1 slice versus 2 slices?
Yeah, that's sort of his Vayis Kasha. Very good. Vavli Sudas Keva. And it's called Keva. It's subjective. Ela Amar Abaya. So Abaya lowers the bar in what you're allowed to eat outside of the sukkah. Says Abaya, Kidita'im, like one taste, Ta'im is taste, Bar Beirav, a yeshiva bacher, Va'ayol Lakala, when he goes to Shir. So Rashi here points out that when you get up in the morning and you go into Beis Medrash and you're worried that the Rebbe's Shir might take a little bit too long, so what do? You eat a bite. You grab a bite. It's the quintessential snack. V'toyim mali piv v'shaisa. You have a little bit to eat. So the Gemara doesn't give us more than that, but that is the Gemara. In my mind, anyone who's ever been in the Mir in Eretz Yisrael, this is at 5:45. Rav Asher Shir is 6 o'clock, so you have about 600 people going to Shir. So 5:45, what's everyone doing? Everyone's grabbing the one last little rugula, little coffee, little cigarette. Everyone's getting the one last little bit before Shir. By the way, breaking news: Rav Asher moved to Shir till the morning time. Yeah. This just happened. I don't know if anyone makes a difference in their life. It doesn't, but it is just earth-shattering news. Tanu Rabbanon. See, everything could change. It's a raya. Everything could change. It's a raya that he's not a brisker. That's the raya. That's the raya. Anyways.
Oh, I thought you were like a mirror guy.
Tanu Rabbanon. Chevra that don't sleep in the sukkah, you should probably not have come tonight. I know the food is good, but this is going to be a rough one. What should I tell you? So achilas arai, your sushi, your papas and rice, your shtik fleish even, that you can eat out of the sukkah, no problem. When you get to your mezainis, your mites, you eat in the sukkah. But the nap, the cat nap at your desk when no one's watching, then you got to go into the sukkah. Fascinating. My time. Says Gemara, why? I don't understand. You're allowed to have a temporary meal out of the sukkah, so should be allowed to have a temporary nap out of the sukkah. Amar Rav Ashi, you know why? Gezerah Shema Yardoim. You know the guy that snores by the shear? That everyone tries to wake him up, but he doesn't because he's deep in the sleep? That's Gezerah to decree Shema Yardoim. I fall into a deep slumber. You think you're taking a 5-minute nap? Before you know it, it's the next morning, and you're still sitting at your desk. Yeah. By the way, mitzvah to wake up that guy. It's so embarrassing. No, it happened on Yontif. The guy was sleeping. It was so embarrassing. It was pushing embarrassing. The guy's sitting there snoring away. The whole place is staring at him. Someone go wake him up. Wake him up. That 1 minute of embarrassment is much less than the 1,000 people watching him snore away. Anyways, moving right along. Gezerah Shema Yardim. You can't sleep. You can't take a nap out of the sukkah. Why? Because you might fall into a deep slumber. Amr le Abaye, and I know I'm supposed to stop right now because it's 8:12, but it is Thursday, so we're going to go a job further. Amr le Abaye, Elahad, no, I'm not going to go that much further. Elahad Tanya, that which we learned in a Brisa. Yashin Adam Shinas Arai B'Tfilin. You're allowed to sleep a temporary sleep. You're allowed to take a nap in your tefillin. Avaloi Shinas Keva. But you're not allowed to go for a full-fledged sleep in your tefillin. Asks Abaya, why not? Lecha Shema Yardoim. Why aren't we afraid you're going to fall into a deep slumber? If by Sukkah, you're not allowed to take a nap outside of the Sukkah because we're afraid you're going to fall into your deep slumber, why don't we have the same concern by tefillin? Amar Rav Yosef Breid Rav Eloi. You know why? You give your sleep to someone else, meaning you have a shaymer. A shaymer is standing over you and making sure you don't fall into a deep slumber. So we're just going to end with the kasha. Maskev la Rav Mesharshia. Aravacha, your guarantor, Aravat Tzarich needs a guarantor. Meaning, this guy, maybe he's going to fall asleep. So why is that work? And we're going to stop over here. We're going to leave it with a thought-provoking question. Isn't there a very big difference? A guy who's napping makes a lot of sense that he might fall into a deep sleep. The guy who's the shomer, you're standing there, you're wide awake. I have to be worried you're just going to all of a sudden drop into sleep. It's a little bit of an extreme question. Often when we have Gemara's Aravacha, Aravat Tzarich, is when there's a same concern by that other guy. Over here, the guy watching seemingly shouldn't have the same concern. We're going to leave it over here. We'll pick it up from Ella, B'siyat Shai next week. And Chaver, just a huge reminder, Shabbos Kodesh, especially on a long Friday, we still have to work out a good time to chaz it together. I don't know what the answer is, but maybe we'll talk about it later. But we did one Amma this week. It's not about the quantity, it's about the quality. And anyone who didn't chazer, forgetting about getting in the raffle, which I don't know when the raffle is going to be held, and it's kedai. It's kedai to wrap up everyone's chazara.